facilities by video or other electronic means. We are using Zoom. All members of the board have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during the meeting through Zoom, and the public has access to contemporaneously listen and, if necessary, participate in the meeting through dialing the following phone number, 646-558-8656, or by clicking on a Zoom address we have provided. B, providing public notice of the necessary information for accessing the meeting. We previously gave notice of how to access this meeting, both on the town's website and the Town of Hopkins Facebook page. And C, providing a mechanism for the public to alert the public body during the meeting if there are problems with access. If anyone has a problem, please call 603-746-8242 or email townadmin@hopkinton-newhampshire.gov. D, adjourning the meeting if the public is unable to access the meeting. In the event the public can't access the meeting, we will adjourn and have it rescheduled. Several things to know. The meeting's being recorded. It will be available to watch at a later time on the town website. The select board is unmuted. All others are muted. If you have a question during the meeting, you can use the chat feature or raise your hand to let the hosts know you have a question. And during public forum, the lines will be unmuted to allow people to speak. And finally, all votes during this meeting must be done by roll call. Please say if there's anyone in the room with you in accordance with the right to know law. So we will start the meeting by taking roll call attendance. This is Sabrina Dunlap. I am alone in my office. Let's see. Anna, you're next on my screen.
Anna Wells, I'm alone.
Jeff, you're next.
Jeff Donahoe, also alone.
Stephen.
Stephen Whitley, alone.
And Ken.
Ken Trauman, I'm alone.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, so first on our agenda is points of pride.
Sure. Last week there was a thank you letter to Kentucky Carry, and I meant during Points of Pride, it was on the list, but meant to mention that they had donated $2,000 towards the Fuel Assistance Fund, which they have done the last quite a few number of years, which is a huge help and is very much appreciated and used throughout the winter. And I talked to Chief Yale today, and the Rotary donation having to do with the ventilator is moving forward. There's a few more hurdles to go through, but he wanted to express appreciation for that also.
Excellent.
I'll jump in there and just follow up on what Neil mentioned. What Rotary is looking to do is the Hopkinton Rotary would donate $4,000, which would be then eligible for a 2.5-time match from, I guess it's Rotary International, to bring the total up to $14,000, which I understand is normally close to the price of a ventilator. So at this point, the grant application has been made, and we're just waiting to hear back. I'd also like to thank Neil. He is our speaker at our first Rotary Zoom meeting, and he talked about all of the changes and accommodations in town. And I think a lot of people didn't know about a lot of the things that were happening. And similarly, James Newsom will be speaking about the school board meeting that's coming up in 11 days. He'll be speaking this Wednesday. Okay, that's it for me.
Thanks, Ken. Anybody else have points of pride? All right. Moving on then, approval of consent agenda.
I'll move we approve the consent agenda, but I do have one question.
A second.
Subject to Ken's question.
But my question relates to the cooperative agreement for the forestry truck. Is that replacing a current truck? Is it in, or not? And what is the cost to bring it up to usable status?
that is actually the same truck we already have. It's just an updated agreement. So, and there's no cost. It's already been expended.
Oh, okay, fine. That answers it perfectly. Thank you.
Okay. Roll call vote. Sabrina Dunlap, yes. Anna,
Anna Wells, yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Stephen,
Yes.
and Ken.
Yes,
Thank you. All right, next we have approval of the public meeting minutes from April 27th, 2020.
so moved.
Second?
Any discussion or edits? All right. Sabrina, yes. Anna,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Stephen,
Yes.
and Ken.
Yes,
Thank you. All right. Next, approval of the non-public meeting minutes of April 27th, 2020, session 1.
also so moved.
Second.
All right. Any edits, comments? All right. Sabrina, yes. Anna,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Stephen,
Yes.
Ken.
Yes,
Thank you. And finally, approval of the non-public meeting minutes of April 27th, 2020, session 2.
and so moved again.
Second.
All right. Sabrina, yes. Anna,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Stephen,
Yes.
Ken.
Yes,
Excellent. Thank you. All right, on to COVID-19, general updates. Neil.
Sure. I'll just, not a lot of update this week other than we all were anxiously awaiting what's now stay-at-home 2.0, I guess, to figure out where to go from here. So I know at our staff meeting today, I think a lot of us had more concern now because it seemed like people were loosening up a lot more quickly than the orders had indicated we probably should be. But and there are certainly questions around that and what it all means and trying to figure that out. The legal call tomorrow hopefully will be helpful to answer some of that. But I know towns have lots of questions around that. The other things connected to this is currently your vote to close the offices until today. I would anticipate that should be extended. I'd like to talk about the staff is going to recommend that the July 4th events not take place. It's time that either commitments need to be made or not, so that would be better. To not do it is the recommendation. We're looking at not renting any of our facilities until June. And I have a question on how you would like to handle the porta potties. Currently, we have one porta potty at the cabins, which has been there. But this is the time of year when we put one at the gazebo, and whether you think that should happen or not. So those are the issues on my list.
All right, thank you. So that's not my dog.
Something to say.
He's big, he's loud.
So should we start? Let's see. Let's start with the town office. I think it makes sense to extend closure at least through the end of 2.0, which I think is
End of May.
end of May.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
The end of May is a Sunday. I wonder if it would be worth extending it to June 1st, just so that if we're opening up, Neil and the town staff have time to get the building prepared.
I would anticipate that decision would be made at least a week or more prior to that, so we would know. So I think either way is fine.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that wasn't the case this time.
Mm-hmm.
So it would stay closed. So the open day would be June 2nd. I mean, depending on how things go, but
Yeah, I mean, that was my thought, just to make it easier for Neil and the rest of our staff.
but Neil, it sounds like you don't feel very strongly about that.
Either way, I think this time we were pretty sure this was going to be extended anyway, so we were not anticipating opening today or tomorrow. So we may be getting closer to that. That may not be the case at the end of May, though.
Anyone else have thoughts on setting a day to open back up?
I don't have a strong preference for whether it's Sunday or Monday. Monday maybe makes more sense because it's wouldn't be open on a Sunday anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's cleaner just to say for now, the plan is to open up June 1st, which is a Monday. And then obviously as things unfold over the next few weeks, we can revisit this.
Yeah, we'll just be sure to put it on our agenda for the Monday, the 25th, which is Memorial Day.
So our meeting will be on Tuesday, the 26th.
Even better, one more day.
All right. So I guess we need a motion. Yes. To extend.
So moved.
Okay, I'll second.
Okay. All right.
Through
Sabrina.
the 31st.
What's that?
It's through the 31st is the motion.
Yes. Yes. Good?
Great. Yep.
Okay. Sabrina is a yes. Anna.
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes.
Steven.
Yes.
Ken.
Yes.
Okay. And then 4th of July. I mean, it stinks, but I think if that's the recommendation and that seems like the reasonable thing where we sit now, I'm leaning towards that.
Neil,
No 4th of July
can you give us
days.
a little more detail about what commitments we would have to be making if we were to go forward?
Sure. It starts with the parade and gathering people there and committing to the band. The band is the large thing there, but it's the town band, so that's not huge. But it's also buying the things for the fun fair, which doesn't seem like it is a smart thing. They also start advertising and putting information out on the road race, as well as buying things which they wouldn't buy quite yet for the breakfast. So.
Right.
I guess I would support staff's recommendation.
I think it's the prudent thing to do, even though it really stinks to think that that's not going to happen.
Anna, Jeff?
Well, I guess I'm just trying to think, like, is there, what would be, rather than making the decision right now to cancel everything happening on July 4th, is there a way that we can, if there's something that we have to make a decision on one of the events, can we forego that event, that part of the day, but keep the door open to some things that we could make the decisions about down the road?
I know some of the talk was too about looking at some other sort of things, whether people put out flags, which they could get from Rotary, or something like that. So there was talk about other other possibilities, but it was the consensus of
Of the staff.
the police chief, the fire chief, the recreation director, that trying to do this event probably is not going to work, given what we know now.
Yeah. I mean, I do want to support them, and they're, you know, it's, they have the most knowledge and the most experience, and ultimately it probably should be, our decision should be in line with what they think is best. So I'll support that.
I'll be disappointed, but it's the right thing to do.
It really bites.
I don't think you necessarily need to vote on that, but
Okay, I was gonna say.
I'll pass that along. But yeah, nobody was very happy about
No.
that.
Yeah. Hopefully we're all back here in a month trying to put something together in a short amount of time, but
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is maybe if we are still under some sort of social distancing, stay at home, something, maybe there's some way that we can organize something that takes distance into account, or virtual, or something that we could do as a community, as a town, to celebrate the day. So we can talk about that as we get closer.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say the rec department is certainly not against that and is open to ideas and has been trying to come up with things that could happen.
Virtual celebration of some
Right,
kind.
right.
I'd at least like to see us do something on Labor Day if we're not going to do 4th of July.
Mm.
And pending on what's going on with the fair at Labor Day, there may be some opportunities to do something. It may be a very different year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with the fair.
So at this point, probably not, we're, you know, not going to have 4th of July the way we're used to, but hopefully we'll either be coming up with something on short time because everything will be better then, or we'll figure out a way to celebrate somehow.
I had lost my
Mm.
Are you there?
Ken, you're frozen.
Darn.
Okay, while we're waiting for Ken to return, Neil, you mentioned the porta potties at the gazebo.
Yes, generally we put one there which covers the concerts and just provides a facility downtown.
Yeah. And is there just concern around, like, I guess we just have to answer if we want to put one there?
Right. Some people have concerns about porta potties in general right now, with lots of people using them. But we have left the one at the cabins, and it does get cleaned a couple times.
I mean, I guess something to consider is it better for people to have the option of the porta potty versus going into our local stores and restaurants? You know, what's the lesser of two evils? Not that there are many, I mean, there aren't
There's none available.
public
anymore.
bathrooms, but, you know, someone could go over to the Colonial and say it's an emergency, or go to Dimitri's and walk in, get a bottle of water to use the bathroom, versus having the option of the porta potty.
Yeah, and if we do get to a place where we're actually doing stuff at the gazebo this summer, I'd rather have a porta potty there than not. So, I mean, I'm kind of leaning towards yes, but.
And I think next week the farmers market will be here with a plan.
Good.
Because they would like to open, and they are essential. And numerous towns have come up with some good plans. So I'm going to meet with them this week and talk about that, and then they can present a plan next week.
Okay, great. So does anyone have an objection to the porta potty, I guess, is a,
My only comment would be it's an inconsistent message with everything else that we're saying. But, I mean, if the farmer's market's coming back, certainly it's relevant for that. But, you know, otherwise, we're trying to limit gatherings, and that step encourages gatherings at the gazebo. It's just not the same as what we're doing everywhere else.
Can we wait and see what the farmer's market proposal is next week?
Sure, that seems reasonable.
yeah, okay,
Because I kind of, without the farmer's market, I think more inclined to say no. But if the farmer's market has a good plan for how they want to operate, then it makes sense to have one there for the people that staff it and the public that attends to buy those products.
that sounds reasonable to me. Okay, so we'll sort of wait and see on that one. The only other thing COVID related that I have heard is I had a few people ask about green bags, and I know we had agreed to waive them until town hall opens again. So just to be clear, they would continue to be waived in theory through May 31st, depending on, you know, if that date changes. But as of now, no green bags would be required until May 31st or June 1st, I guess.
We'll put that out
Sounds neat.
tomorrow with an update on the office closing too.
Okay.
Is there any? I mean, I've heard people express some frustration that the green bags have been suspended. Is there any? Do we want to get any input from waste reduction before we continue that?
Well, the problem is you can't find them easily, you know, like I think that's the problem.
Right.
So ooh, I'm getting like serious echo feedback here. I don't know if
I
anyone
think it's
else.
because we have two Kens. Ken
Okay.
could mute one of himself. It might be better.
Oh God.
I've been having problems with my internet. So I've just gone to the phone. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm clear on the
Yes, but we
phone.
still see your screen from your computer.
Yeah,
or
you're
your
frozen. Computer
identifier.
screen.
And I did mute the other one, so I think
Oh,
we're
great.
safe. I think.
Ken, were you gonna say something about green bags?
I agree with you, Sabrina, that we don't want to force somebody to have to go into a store to buy green bags at this time.
I guess my only comment is that if they're grocery shopping for other stuff, they're already in the store. But it gets us back to the supply issue. If the town hall is closed, they have no way to get them from town hall, or I don't know where the stores would get them.
Yeah.
And not all stores have them. Like, for example, Market Basket and Warner doesn't carry them, although Abishans does. So
Okay.
does it force people to go more?
An extra trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there
Yeah.
may be people who are not shopping. I mean, who are
Exactly.
only
I was
having
gonna
things
say,
delivered,
like, yeah,
and only
people who
utilizing
are-
services which are curbside,
exactly.
overhead, and things like that. So
Yeah. I mean, I guess from a waste reduction perspective, probably not ideal, but it's you know, the grand scheme of things, we're talking about a few more weeks. So hopefully.
Okay.
So unless someone can come up with like a foolproof way of supplying them and making it so people don't actually have to go out and buy them, I think we'll stay the course on this.
What if could they be made available at the transfer station? I guess there's no way to pay and
Yeah, you'd have to
that, but
figure out some point of sale,
yeah.
and
guess
you don't
not.
want to expose the transfer station employees.
Through the years, that has been determined by different committees that that was not a good idea.
Yeah.
There.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks for raising that though, Stephen. It seems like there's just not a great way to deal with it. Does anyone else have anything COVID related?
I'll just do one at the town meeting update, my conversation with Bruce here. Do you want that here?
Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Neil.
Okay.
I thought I lost you.
So Bruce wanted to move town meeting till June. And then his main reason for he would have come this week is to discuss that. And that decision was already made. So he'll be in a few weeks to look at options. And you probably all saw today that the school is going forward with the drive-through town meeting, although their email didn't reflect that totally, because I've had calls about why are they doing in-person voting, but it is drive-through voting.
So I can add like just a tiny bit of clarification on that. So the letter, while it did not and should have said that they were going to be doing voting by car, it did reference a proposed plan at an earlier school board meeting where it did lay out very specifically how things would happen based mostly on the Bow model. So while I agree it should have been more explicit about it, it did refer back to another document from an earlier school board meeting.
I was just referring to the calls I had with several people who said, as the health officer, how could they be allowed to in person? So yeah. But once they understood it was drive-through, they were okay with that. So
good.
Okay, thanks, Neil. So we also have update on plan for transitioning on here.
Largely, that's getting the building ready to reopen. And because when I did this Friday morning, I didn't know how soon that was going to be. So we can come back to that unless you want to go through. But sort of talking about, we're looking at adding plexiglass as well as spacing people out and things like that. So, but we can come in with a much broader plan all at once as we get closer to that.
Sounds reasonable.
I guess while we're still on COVID stuff and town hall, I should probably just raise this. I don't think that we should discuss it right now, but I received an email today from Carol Harless expressing concerns about their working environment in the town clerk's office. She's trying to stagger her staff as much as possible, so not more than 2 people are in there, but she feels the working quarters are too tight to exercise adequate social distancing. And I think that she'll be coming to the board to discuss steps that can be taken. Namely, her proposal is to move back to the Bates building. So just so that you're aware and can start thinking about that. I responded to
She
her
doesn't
that
wanna
it
go
needed to
online.
be a, what's that?
She doesn't want to go online.
Well, I responded to her that it needs to be a full board discussion, and that she could either hop on tonight and we could talk about it during public forum, or she could get on our agenda for next week. But I thought you all should know that so you can be thinking about that.
Xena.
Okay. Thanks, Anna, for that update.
Sure.
Anything else COVID related?
Yes, where the governor mentioned about stipends for first responders, I'm wondering what the process is, Neil, if you know, and when they might start getting it.
Late this afternoon, I received an email on that, and I haven't gone to the website to read through it, but we will.
Very generally, it looks like there's a form online that you fill out and submit, and you do that, I think, 3 times to cover the next 3 months that stipend is available. And yeah, but I mean, I'm sure Neil will see all that because it's right there when he has a chance to go online.
And where it mentioned $150 a week for part-time, would our call firemen or women be considered part-time?
They are part-time. I don't know what the requirements are for the stipend, but yes, they are part-time employees is their status.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
All right. No appointments tonight. So we're on to old business, acceptance of the DES grant.
So this is the grant, the drinking water grant for the Chesley property. And we're looking for a motion to enter into the grant and authorize whoever your person to sign this week is to do that.
We didn't have that vote earlier, did we?
That's
Forgot about that. How's the signing going for you, Jeff?
Not a problem. He was a very gracious host. He lets me in the door and then he runs away.
As he should.
So maybe we can, once we've discussed this, we can slip in a motion and vote on authorizing Jeff to sign.
So I'll move that we accept this grant, but note that I have one question or issue to raise in discussion.
I will second that.
So yeah, go
that's
ahead.
to accept the grant and authorize Jeff to sign it on behalf of the town.
That. Seconded by Sabrina.
Yeah.
So my only, and I did email with Neil a little bit about this. He clarified for me, but the property that's being conserved, the old rail bed runs right through it. And I just wanted to flag for us to be aware that at some point, hopefully there will be a rail trail going through town and connecting. It could be an amazing connector between the Rollins property all the way over to the Mast Yard and beyond in both directions. So just that whatever the stipulations are for the deed restrictions, that it doesn't restrict the future possibility of a trail being created on that property. while fully acknowledging that there are many other pieces of the puzzle that need to come into a place before that happens, but just not to limit that possibility. So that's all.
Thanks for flagging that.
Do we have draft language of what the deed restrictions are going to look like, Neil?
No, those will come back to you before they're approved,
Okay.
because they're going to be done once the town owns the piece.
Okay. Okay. Then yeah, thank you for flagging that, Anna.
Okay. Any other discussion, or are we ready to vote? All right. So Sabrina, yes. Anna,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Stephen,
Yes.
and Ken.
Yes.
Excellent. Oh, and I would move that we authorize Jeff to sign with thanks for doing that. Not just this, but other documents this week.
Consent agenda and others.
Yeah.
Any of the
Second.
appointments?
All right. Sabrina's yes. Anna,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Stephen,
Yes. Thank you, Jeff.
yes. Thank you. Ken, you're a yes.
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. And last thing before public forum, unless Neil has other updates, we have year-to-date expense review.
Sure. Well. Maybe I won't pull it up. I'll just do the review. So just walking through, I'll highlight a few things that are slightly over. We're 33.33% through the year, believe it or not. Executive is a little over. That's the town reports are done. NHMA is paid for the year, and the website is paid for the year, which is why that's a little high. Elections are at 37%, but we've had 2 of the 4 elections. We've got a couple, at least one really big one coming. Finance is a little on the high side because the audit is largely paid for. The assessor is timing because a lot of that work happens this time of year as we get ready and are around the April 1st tax year beginning. Personnel is a little high because of workers' comp, and we also pay the health insurance a month in advance. So that also included the May payment for that. We're starting to track COVID expenses separately under emergency management. We only budget $1 there, but we'll be tracking that in separate accounts so that we can we're anticipating being reimbursed at least at the 75%, if not at 100%. You'll note welfare vendors is a little high. Housing is really what's up a lot. And so that's where most of that is. And heating fuel is actually down, but not as much as housing is up. Buildings and grounds is just timing, getting supplies for the summer maintenance, and long-term debt, principal and interest is timing. So those are basically where we're at. We're in a, as of right now, we're in a pretty normal spot for this time of year. We'll see what happens this month.
Thanks, Neil.
Okay, you'd be disappointed if I didn't have a question. Neil, I noticed that the heating oil for the Slusher Center and the library were running a little high. Are they still heating those buildings?
They're running a little high. They should be at about 50% this time of year. So I can look and see where they're at. But we basically use half the heating oil at the beginning of the year and half at the end. Yeah, actually the Slusher Center is at 57%, so that is high, and the library, oh, that's in a different budget. That's in their budget. Is, I'll have to look and see. Do you know what percentage they were at?
No, it was that I was wondering, to what extent are they even heating those buildings now?
Well, you have to heat them to at least a minimum temperature.
To
They
a
can,
minimum.
right. They're not getting heated fully, certainly with people in it. Just like we have a section of the town hall that isn't really heated up to the full amount, except as people are in each office at different times.
Okay, what I was, my question was simply directed as, are they heating the buildings as they would have if they were fully occupied? And if your answer is no, then that ends the question there.
Yeah.
The library's at 40%.
Okay, so that would be a little below where we would expect it to be. And I'll check on the Slusher Center just to make sure that that's been adjusted, but that's my understanding.
Okay. Okay, and just because I reported it last week, I'll pass on what the Hopkinton unemployment rate as of April 18th has increased 11.38% due to the COVID-19. So again, I think we have to keep that in mind with whatever we do with the budget.
Thanks, Ken. Any other questions or discussion on the financial info?
Just that in addition to that frontline responder grant, I think all towns are eligible to get an allocation of federal money that the state has, which Sununu announced this afternoon also. But you're limited to an allocation that's based on your percentage of the state's population. And I think Hopkinton can get, I think, like 135,000, I believe. And so that will be useful and very needed to cover some of these COVID expenses that the towns had to incur.
Stephen, I hadn't heard enough to understand, but I thought it was up to that amount, but only what you actually incurred in terms of expenses.
That's correct. Yeah.
And then there's also the public assistant grant, which we're in line for. And then there's a firefighter assistant grant. They've put, as of today, the firefighter assistant on hold, and they want people first for public assistance. And then they'll figure out how they're going to allocate the firefighter grant. But you can't certainly double dip. If the expense has been covered in one place, it can't be covered in the other.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any news on election assistance?
That committee is meeting now. So, and from their initial meeting, the notes, and Jean is on, and she'll know more than I do, but they are talking about the real costs are with the municipalities. So
Yeah.
We're almost to public forum, so maybe she'll update, because I know she's been right on top
Watching that.
to those.
Great. Thanks.
All right. So anything else for the expense review?
No.
So Neil, do you have any other town administrator updates before we go to public forum?
No, largely we've covered everything.
Okay, great. So I can't see who we still have from the public if we have anyone, but
I can unmute them if you want.
okay, great. So we're officially opening the public.
Jean's got her hand up.
Okay, good.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just follow up what Neil was saying. Their meeting, that commission is meeting, or committee is meeting 3 days this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 2:00, and it'll be online. They are on Zoom, so it's interesting. They just met one time last week. They're kind of getting themselves organized and what they're going to do. So I'll keep Neil and Carol and Sarah involved in, up to date on what's going on.
Thank you, Jean.
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
guys.
Anyone else from the public?
Janet's got her hand up.
Unmute.
I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep. Hi, Janet.
Hi. There's an annoying sound or noise in the background. Has been for quite a while, and I have no idea what it is. It's not really a chirping sound, but something like a chirping sound. I don't know if there's feedback or what, but it really is annoying.
Huh. Has anyone else heard that?
I
Because
haven't.
No,
I only heard Ken's.
Yeah, the feedback when Ken had 2 lines open, but other than that, I haven't heard any background consistent.
okay.
It's like Jean has her hand up again.
That's right.
Jean, did you get
Yeah.
feedback?
Yes, I did.
Weird. Okay. Well, thanks for flagging that.
Seems to be a little bit better now.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's not as bad. Boy, that was really annoying, the last few items.
Sorry about that.
And I just didn't know what to do. I mean, there was no time to interrupt or whatever, so, but it was. Yeah, and it seems to be gone now, so I don't know what it was.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
flagging.
Yeah, thank you.
Janet, do you have anything else?
No, that's it.
Oh,
Thank you.
all right. Well, thanks for being part of our public tonight.
Thank you.
Stay well.
And thank you for a short meeting.
Yeah.
I like
Well,
those.
thank you, Janet.
Yeah.
I just want
All
to thank
right.
Janet for participating in the school planning.
Thank you, Janet.
Yes,
You're
thanks,
welcome.
Janet.
You're welcome.
Anyone else in public forum? All right. I think we can close it down. So does anyone have anything for other?
I got a question today about the rescue squad situation, which of course I couldn't answer. But we may need to try to bring that to the forefront at some point to respond to the public.
So I just noticed a new attendee. Hi, Rita. So that's excellent timing, Jeff. So if you have a question, Rita, we just closed public forum, but we can open it up again if you want.
Okay. I'm just jumping on to see what's happening. I had emailed about the rescue squad. I'm curious what's happening, especially in light of items that will be on the fire department to replace equipment. You guys have any news?
Can you
Kind of
repeat
hard
that?
to hear you with the
Yeah.
dogs in the background.
I've got to shut it's my dog.
They're not my dogs. Mine are mountain biking.
Oh,
Oh, it's Brandy's dogs. Okay, sorry.
sorry.
I got everything shit. I kicked the cat outside and the dogs are gone.
Your dog.
Okay. Can you repeat what you said?
Yeah, I'm just wondering what's going on with the rescue squad, mainly because all the equipment they have need to be purchased by the town. And that will be a significant cost in that fire department budget. So I'm just wondering where you guys are with that.
We're in the process of reviewing the information that they provided. And I think once we finish that, then we'll have a response, but we haven't finished that process yet. So unfortunately, don't have anything further right now.
Okay, how long do you think it's gonna take? Because I read that binder.
Well, I think there was a couple of loose ends that Chief Yale was going to check up on and get back to us. And, you know, Chief is obviously busy himself dealing with COVID and just ordinary fire department issues. So I think as soon as we have the rest of the information, we'll try to turn it around as quickly as we can, because we know that the rescue squad and a lot of people in town are waiting to hear what our response is.
Okay, yeah, because I did read that binder, and I also had a list of what the rescue squad was asked to provide. So I'm just curious. We got budgets coming, and I'm gonna work to get them voted down because the community just can't afford them. And if we already have equipment and we have a mutual aid company right here in town that we can use and other communities can use, I'm not sure what the holdup is. So I'm hoping you guys will get to that sooner than later.
Yep.
Yeah, Rita, just to
It's better.
clarify, I mean, it's not the same thing as mutual aid, just to be clear. A
Why is
rescue squad. It's not the same. It's apples to oranges.
Okay, I'd like to hear more about that because they're a separate entity from the fire department. And I don't believe it will be any different than calling Henniker to come help. So I would love to have somebody clarify that for me if I'm mistaken.
Well, calling on mutual aid is calling on other towns' fully certified fire, EMS, police. So it's not the same as calling on a private independent rescue squad, which, you know, as you know, the issues that have been ongoing are around, you know, are they adequately insured? Are they adequately trained? So, you know, if we're calling on mutual aid to other towns, those other towns' fire departments, police departments, emergency services departments are, you know, state board certified. So it's different.
Okay. The other thing I requested was, because I've been looking and talking to other fire departments and rescue squads. So there's qualifications out there that probably need to be looked at.
Can you repeat that, Rita?
Yeah.
I had emailed Neil and asked what the criteria was for when we were looking for a fire chief a few years ago and what our chief's qualifications are.
Okay.
If you can get that to me, I'd be grateful.
Neil, do you have an update for Rita on when you might be able to get something back to her?
You're muted, Neil.
Sure. Yeah, I don't remember that email, so I can send the job description, which has everything in it, tomorrow.
Perfect. Nice. Thank you. All right. Yeah, I'm just, okay, clarifying the mutual aid thing. I'm still not sure why we wouldn't use somebody in town, but I guess.
Well, I mean, Rita, we've had
decision.
many meetings about this, and it's not so simple. I mean, we've already gone through the many issues with the rescue squad in terms of liability for the town, in terms of them meeting certain standards. So it's not like a super simple situation. So this has been, as you know, going on for a long time, but it's not the same as mutual aid. It's just not.
Okay.
They don't meet the same standards.
Got it.
So And we are reviewing things. The process is moving along. So hopefully we will have some more information soon.
Perfect. Thanks.
Thanks for joining us.
The timely matter. Thanks for letting me speak.
You
You're welcome.
just under the wire. You're about to end the meeting.
Thanks, Rita.
So we'd moved on to other, but I don't think anyone had anything for other.
I'll just ask my regular questions, Neil. Anything from Granite Apollo?
You're still,
If I'm going to mute myself, I should remember to unmute. No, I've not heard anything from Granite Apollo.
Okay, and have you had a chance to look into refinancing?
We've started that process, yes.
Oh, great, okay.
There's two loans that are out there that it may be helpful to do. One I believe is a 10-year, and one is a 5-year.
Anything on the land swap?
Those deeds are being done. That's where that's at. The
Oh,
deeds
good.
are being
Okay.
written. The hard part was the 3 town properties all were on one deed, and then it exempted the road right away through the center when it was done, so that they've taken a little longer to try to update them and get them to be more accurate moving forward.
Okay. Unless anyone else has anything for other, there's no non-public tonight, as far as I can tell. Right? Okay. So that leaves adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Sabrina, yes. Anna,
Yes.
I can't see who's next. I'll just go Steven,
Yes.
Jeff,
yes.
Ken.
Yes.
All right. Thank you all.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Be well.
Have a good week. Bye.
Bye.